It is Monday, December 15th, 2025. This is another offseason edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, along for the ride as well. Boy, do we have a ton to get to. I mean, holy smokes. There's signings. There's been trade rumors. We got to get to all of it. But the most important thing I saw over the weekend is our tip of the cap to none other than one of my favorite kids around. Teddy Plouffe, who hit his first over-the-fence home run. My man, you just must have gotten all the feels.
It was great, man. You know, he's such a good kid, like good teammate, like everything that you want. And he always asks me, like, Dad, how come I need to hit a home run? Like, why am I not hitting home runs? I said, dude, you're 10. Like, it'll come, man. Like, no big deal. But he's been working. He's been putting in the work in the backyard. I let him switch to a bigger bat in that game, and then he hit a homer. So maybe it was my fault all along. But definitely proud of him. That was awesome. It was cool. We played great as a team also this weekend. Go Padres.
That is so cool. I love it when all the kids get to home plate and they're there to greet him. The welcoming committee. That's the best part. Best part. Do you know I never hit an over-the-fence home run when I played? I hit my only Little League homer at Cortland Oval, and it was one of those where if it rolls into the street, they have to stop playing. It's a home run. So that's the only – that was it.
You hit one in the street. All right.
Yeah, we didn't have fences where I played. We didn't have they were just long, grassy fields.
I can vividly remember the first time I hit a ball out of the field, like a homer. And it was in batting practice it was at Northridge Little League where Teddy hit that first one. Just actually crazy. One field over.
Crazy.
And I just finished like a football season, tackle football. So they all strong. And I hit one. I was like, holy shit.
All right.
That changes you. You're like, okay.
I love it that it was at the same park, Northridge. Yeah. Okay. Teddy, no pressure?
Actually, never mind. I'm sorry. That was not at the same park. That one was at West Hills. We played the following day at Northridge. My bad.
You just should have stuck with it.
I know. I don't want to lie to people.
That's okay. Here we go. Mets have replaced Pete Alonso. Sort of. Jorge Polanco, Seattle's second baseman. He moves across the country and about 50 feet to his left on the diamond to primarily play first base. 2 years, $40 million is what he gets. Now, obviously, Polanco's numbers will not compare to Pete Alonso's. But how optimistic should New York fans be with this first step in repairing the roster?
I like the move. I like that you said not a replacement for Pete Alonso because I don't think that's what he is. I don't believe he should be the guy behind Juan Soto. I think we need something else. I wouldn't mind if he was hitting fifth or if he was hitting second. I think protecting Juan Soto, I don't know if it's the guy, although he is a switch hitter, so you have the right-handed bat behind him. I love Jorge Polanco. People who know me know that he's my guy. I played with him in Minnesota. No nonsense. That's not even the right way to describe him. He's just a phenomenal human being who shows up to work every day. He's never too high, never too low. We saw him have extreme success in the postseason, at least against the Tigers this year. You know, that walk-off hit, the homers off of Skubal. So the moment's never too big for him. I don't mind him going to first base, Chris. I don't think it's going to be some crazy position change that he won't be able to handle. I think he's a good defender, not a great defender. He'll be fine over there at first base. So I like the signing. Happy for my guy Jorge, but I don't think this can't be your Pete Alonso hitting behind Soto replacement.
No, this is not a standalone. This isn't it. I mean, this is part of a puzzle that they are putting together. He kills left-handed pitching. His OPS was nearly 900, and that's good because the Mets did not do great. Even with Pete Alonso there, they did not do great against left-handed pitching. Here's part of the problem with Polanco is that it's not just that you're replacing a 40-homer guy. You're replacing a guy who you could pencil in every day, and unfortunately with Jorge Polanco, that hasn't been the case, right? Even last year, he missed 25 games. He missed over 40 the year before. He played half the season in 2023. So when you're going from a guy who we have talked about the importance of a manager being able to write somebody's name in the lineup and not having to change that all the way from late March through early October, That is a true luxury in this sport, and it's something that Pete Alonso brings with him when you sign him to a contract, or in the Mets' case, do not sign him to a contract. So that's something we're going to have to keep our eye on. But I do like it. I like it. I mean, I'm all for switch hitters that have got some pop and aren't afraid of the big moment. And, I think it's a good first step. And by the way, everybody shat on David Stearns the last 7 to 10 days based on what has happened, even longer than that, really, ever since the Nimmo trade. I mean, the Mets, they made it to Game 6 of the NLCS in 2024, but other than that, how close have they been, right? They bowed out against the Padres a few years ago. Last year was obviously horrific. I mean, if we're talking about changing the look of and makeup of the team, then why shouldn't we give him time to do that this offseason?
Well, I mean, I just talked about this with Jake, and we came up with the term give Stearns some turns. Like we had give Heim time. So there's still people out there available for free agency. He does have, I believe it's 6 top 100 prospects to deal if he needs to, as far as the trade market. So yeah, this can still turn into a successful offseason. I think what happened was the Diaz, the Pete Alonso, the Nimmo stuff happened so quickly and all together that Mets fans were really feeling it, and that's fine. I like the emotion there. I would feel the exact same way. In fact, I did. I don't know, about July 31st of 2025 when the Twins traded away everybody. That hurt. But I do think, and look, this is a big if. It's not like it's going to happen.
No.
So he has to step on the gas. There's still a chance that, they're gonna sign people. There's just no doubt in my mind. They have a chance to have a successful offseason. The team's going to look different. Some of the players that you let go, fan favorites, no doubt about it. It wouldn't surprise me if by the end of the offseason, we're like, all right, David Stearns did a pretty good job.
All right.
I still think that Pete Alonso was a no-brainer re-sign, and for some reason, they just don't think Pete Alonso is a good player.
And they made that decision last year.
Exactly.
That wasn't made this off.
Let me ask you this. Don't you think every team made that decision last year? Anybody could have had Pete Alonso last year. He's on a 1-year 30, right? Or was it?
Yeah, but he wasn't coming off nearly as good a season.
I know that, but I'm saying we can't just blame the Mets and say, oh, well, they didn't think he was good last year. Like nobody was given, like somebody could have signed him last year.
That's true, but the Mets had the most story written with him.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody else would be taking a flyer like, okay, we think Pete Alonso is really good and we think he's good. But the Mets, that speaks volumes when you're talking about a guy who they twice had a chance to make him a lifelong Met and they never did. Probably more than that. Probably more than twice is my guess. But the Mets story continues via The Athletic, which says that New York has eyes on several Padres players, and the two sides have talked about a big deal, although neither superstar Francisco Lindor nor Fernando Tatis Jr. would be involved. However, some of the names that have been floated out there from San Diego's side include Mason Miller, Nick Pivetta, Jeremiah Estrada, Adrian Morejon, Ramon Laureano. They're all on New York's shopping list in some sort of way. Will you be more surprised if a trade is consummated or if it isn't?
Between those two teams?
Yes.
I mean, I guess I'm never surprised when the Padres make trades. Like thinking about Mason Miller being on the trade block now is insane to me.
Insane.
Like you gave up what was a consensus like top prospect, a shortstop prospect to get a reliever, which is already pretty ballsy. But hey, we're like, hey, this could be the guy that puts them over the hump. It didn't. And then for the next year say, okay, we're going to trade the guy. I mean, I don't see that happening. But again, you can't put anything past Preller. The Pivetta thing I can see happening, although I don't think – I guess the Mets do need pitching, but do they? You could rely on the young guys. Maybe you're trading. So the Pivetta thing I could see happening. So, okay, to answer your question, do I see it happening or not happening? I think there's a better chance that it happens. Stearns has to make moves. I don't know if it's going to be with the Padres. I don't know, man. I like that move. I like Pivetta to the Mets. I like that. Bring him back to the NL East. Ramon Laureano, it could be good, could be bad. I think if you're shopping and you're the Mets, it's Pivetta. Mason Miller's not going anywhere. There's no way.
I can't see Mason Miller going. But we have seen AJ Preller flip guys before, right? He brought in Drew Thorpe through
Well, Juan
the
Soto
Soto
he did.
deal, and then he sent him packing in the Dylan Cease trade. Now
Yeah.
that is a totally different thing because Drew Thorpe had very little dirt in his spikes by the time he was turned around. Mason Miller has now established himself as one of the dogs at the back end
Would
of
you
the bullpen.
consider like Mason Miller and Juan Soto if he was to flip it, kind of the same thing? You paid a lot to bring Juan Soto in. You got a lot when you shipped him out. Like,
Yeah, it is possible. I mean, he can't sit still, AJ Preller, and part of it is what is going on in San Diego, right? Um, with ownership, the mandate to get payroll down, the lawsuit that's happening with that family. There's a lot of stuff that is more than just baseball decisions going on here, and that's what makes it difficult. But I do think they have the right guy wheeling and dealing in AJ Preller because he's not afraid. He is so unconventional. He doesn't care about prospects because he thinks the next group will just grow down on the farm quickly or will replenish them. By the way, if he does trade Mason Miller, some of the young guys that he is going to get back from the Mets, because not all of them will be show ready, those guys are going to get shipped out in another trade.
yeah.
It's just going to happen with him.
You're so right about like them matching up so well. I mean,
They
the
do.
Mets need bullpen help. They need a starter, a
Mhm.
reliable starter, and Pavetta's cheap. It's going to be end up being a 1-year guy. Love that.
Don't sleep on the Laureano part of that
The
equation.
Laureano makes sense too. I agree. I
Really one of
agree.
the good players. And against left-handed pitching, we just talked about how important Polanco could be from the right side of the
You're
dish.
gonna put you think Ramon Laureano's your guy behind Juan Soto? I don't know. I mean, I get the lefty stuff. I understand that. But what happens in a righty's pitching? Just walk?
Well,
No
Laureano
more
was really
righties.
if I'm not mistaken, Laureano was really good against both last year.
I just don't have in my mind, I know he had a great year last year. I don't have him as like the guy to protect
No,
Juan Soto.
I still think we just talked about them being puzzle pieces.
Yeah. I mean, like, does he fit on the team? Yeah, like it's a great question. Like, and they do fit together. Is a trade going to happen between them? I would love to see it. If you're Mets fans, I would love to see it as a baseball fan because you've actually put me on the trade train. Love me some
Mm,
trades,
that way. And Tong
man.
is obviously the biggest name that it seems like the Mets are comfortable saying, sure, we'll include him in any sort of deal. They've got a couple other arms where it doesn't seem feasible unless we get to Tarek Skubal discussions. That's what I would say. So Mets fans, what are we looking at here? Are we happy with the Polanco piece? Do you definitely want to see a trade between the Padres and Mets? San Diego fans, like we did ask the question about how worried Padre fans should be based on kind of where they are in this whole process of roster construction. I would be a little fearful.
Two of the prospects, I just kind of got in the weeds on this earlier because I'm not a prospect guy. Carson Bench, who's an outfielder for them,
Yeah,
first rounder 2024, then Jet Williams, shortstop prospect for them. Both had like excellent years last year at Double A, made their way to Triple A, so they're knocking on the door, and I think
right.
that is something to like look out for if you're a Mets fan and trying to figure out what David Stearns is thinking or going to do. Like if you have guys like this at those premium positions knocking on the door of the big leagues, that means something to a roster.
Yeah, you're right. By the way, Dan put some notes in here. Laureano last year, 867 OPS against lefties, 848 against right-handed pitching. It was far and away his best season of his
Yes.
career. Really, really good. And he doesn't cost anything. I think he's making less than $7 million this coming season, which I believe is in his walk year, something like that. All right. Today's edition, Baseball Today, it is brought to you by Shopify. Shopify, the best place to start and grow a business. That is why we partner with them here at John Boy Media. You may have noticed over the last several months, John Boy Media has relaunched a merch store on Shopify. It's our new slash line site, total dream come true. We actually brought them ideas. Shopify brought the execution. So as you're shopping our new launch, check out what Shopify can do for you. Life, of course, really is a home run when you have Shopify on your side. It's got Shopify Sidekick, Shopify Magic, and a suite of AI tools, a total game changer. It is revolutionizing the way that you can build and manage your business. You'll have your own AI assistant guide you through everything. We're talking about directions, reports, editing images, content ideas. Shopify's got your next move covered. If you want to be like us, start building your brand from the ground up, it is time to go over to Shopify. Start your trial today. Click that link, shopify.com/today. If you're ready to leave the amateurs and head on over to the big leagues, Shopify is the answer for you. Take our word for it here at John Boy Media. All right, a couple of 30-something closers. They have new teams. Kenley Jansen reportedly inking a one-year deal with the Detroit Tigers with an option for a second. And Bobby Suarez going from San Diego to Atlanta. That's why I am wearing the Braves cap. Let's start with the Braves angle here, who brought back Raisel Iglesias. They also added a 30-something and Mike Yastrzemski to a 2-year deal. How close is Atlanta to being back amongst the big boys in the National League?
I think they can be there. I mean, if you look back at last year, I think they can be there already, to answer your question. Now, the reason why I say that, you go back to last year, like almost everything that could go wrong went wrong. They dealt with injuries to the starting rotation. They had a PED suspension, which kind of knocked their outfield play off. They had a bunch of guys kind of regress a little bit, guys who still are like in their prime as far as age. So like, I'm not worried about like that factor into it. You know, Riley had a down year. Matt Olson had a down year. Michael Harris was really, really bad early on. So a lot of things went wrong, but you know, a full healthy off season, like the rotation looks to be pretty damn good. Everyone's kind of like back and healthy there. So they still have that. They have the core lineup still there. They'll have like, I like Yastrzemski as outfield depth there. Like that to me, that was something they needed, with some more bench depth. So they have that now. Getting Suarez there to pair with Iglesias back in the bullpen, that's really nice. Waldrop, how good he looked. Like there's a lot of signs pointing back to a huge bounce back in 2026 for them. So as long as that's all it was for like the core offensive players, I think that's the thing we'll look at maybe the most. Like if Olson and Harris and Riley can kind of like and not Acuna, excuse me, Albies, if they can all just kind of get back to where they have been, and I truly believe they can, because again the age is on their side. They'll be right in the thick of this thing, Chris. I believe in them. I believe in the 2026 Braves.
Yeah, I think they're really, really close. We know about their need for a shortstop. I still think they need some more starting pitching depth, and I don't know if that means you want to go a little bit younger-ish with a free agent like a Lucas Giolito, and I know obviously there's injury history there, so maybe he's not a perfect fit for the Atlanta Braves, although I thought he pitched exceptionally well for Boston once he came back last season. Like Chris Bassett, does a guy like that make sense,
Perfect.
right? Like, you know that he's going to be there and take the ball every 5 days. Is he going to be a top 10 Cy Young guy? No. But this team needs dependability when it comes to their rotation, because there's too many question marks. Virtually everybody that they're going to trot out there in their rotation has some sort of question mark attached to them. That is not Chris Bassett. You know exactly what you're getting. Dependable, reliable, be there every 5 days, keep you in games sort of dude, and occasionally pitch a gem. Like, I think that's a perfect match.
I do too. Another guy that just signed, I think we're talking about him later. Merrill Kelly would have been perfect. Another guy just
He
taking
would have been
the
great.
ball. You know, he wanted to be in Arizona though, so that
Yes.
kind of probably wasn't going to happen for them. I agree. Somebody that's, I mean, hey, Nick Pivetta works in this rotation as well.
Does.
So I don't know what you got as far as farm system to go get this guy, but I agree with you. Someone like that, but they don't necessarily need that. They have to have that.
Yeah.
It'd be nice. Everyone needs rotational depth. I think what they have right now, especially if they get one of these shortstops we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. I mean, should they go get Bo Bichette? I mean,
it'd be nice, Chris. I honestly think that'd be a luxury for them at this point.
I think it'd be a game
Hey,
changer.
do the Padres, like, what? How much time does Sean Murphy have? He's signed to a deal, right?
Yeah, he's making $15 million a year.
Okay, so
Right
that doesn't
now
really
to
work
be
for the
primarily a
Padres.
DH, and he's not
No.
100% healthy, by
Yeah,
the way.
I'm just trying to think about do they need a shortstop? Yeah, they do.
Yeah, well, they
Is it
do.
Bo Bichette? I mean, that'd be great.
I mean, they have so many guys under team-friendly deals. Go splurge occasionally.
Agreed.
Murphy signed through 2028, according to Dan.
Okay.
And I think 15 million a year, if I'm not mistaken. Real quickly, I do want to touch on the guys that they have brought back. Iglesias, we talked about him. Um, we thought maybe he was going to go elsewhere, and there were other teams that were talking with him, but he came back, I think, for 1 year and 16 mil. From the second week of June on, he was kind of the old Iglesias and very, very dependable. Bobby Suarez is going to be his setup guy. He can be the back end guy if things go sideways again, like they did the first 2 months with Iglesias. He has been so good. His 76 saves since the start of 2024 are the most in the majors. Big strikeout guy, relies on the fastball, and he's a dude who really didn't develop until later in his career. He's a little bit like the pitching version of Adrian Beltre. Like his 30s have been awesome. His 20s, all over the place, trying to find out where he fit in this game. And then Mike Yastrzemski is another guy who didn't make his major league debut until his late 20s. I'm always happy for guys like this who get multi-year deals, and they deserve it. Yastrzemski went over to Kansas City, and he was far and away their best outfielder. He's a no-go against left-handed pitching. His OPS was horrible even last year when he had a solid year. But against right-handed pitching, he's going to be a damage doer. I like all the moves.
I do too. I'm in on the Braves for 2026. I think
Yes.
I'm trying to think of another guy that they can slot in at shortstop that's not Bo Bichette. Like, who do they go get?
I mean, Hassan Kim came
Yeah, we
over
talked about
in the
talked about that.
deal and then opted out. I think that's not bad.
No,
And
we liked that when it happened.
yeah, I mean, it's just when you talk about Bo Bichette, the guy freaking in Game 7 of the World Series comes up and puts him up early with a huge homer. Like he's
These guys don't come up
yeah,
very often where you
in
can
their late 20s.
just go get them. Yeah, so he's gonna have a lot of suitors though, Chris. So you got to pay up.
He's the most interesting guy out there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. The other part of the closer train is Kentley Jansen, and good for him as he's now moving on to like a fifth different team since he's left the Dodgers or something like that. 24 saves shy of 500 for his career. I think this is a good signing. They've got 3 guys now at the back end of their bullpen that all had 20-plus saves last year. They brought back Finnegan on a 2-year deal. He got most of his saves, obviously, with Washington before being traded over to Motown. And Will Vest is an underrated arm. He's another guy who didn't kind of burst onto the major league scene until his late 20s, but he has figured out his role. So I think with A.J. Hinch, he's now got different sorts of guys available. I think it's a good, solid move. I like it.
1 year 11 for a guy that put up what he put up last year? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think if any team that you're a fan of, like, we could have had Kenley Jansen for that. So I like the move for the Tigers. I'm still like very curious about their offseason.
Well, isn't that the question?
It is the question because
Does any of this stuff matter until they get the whole school situation?
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, okay, this is great. Back end of the bullpen seems pretty good. That never really been a problem for the Tigers. Now, do you always want to make additions? Sure. But yeah, the Scooble thing looming it's the entire offseason.
Do they owe it to their fan base to almost set a date on this thing, like an expiration date, and just say, fuck it, like we're not even going to listen to offers? Or does Scott Harris, whom you didn't love his tone at the winter meetings, does he owe it to the franchise and the future of it to just say, listen, we have to deal with this day by day, even if it is uncomfortable?
I just want Scott Harris, you're doing a fine job. But his speech about like, hey, like all the success we've had, like it's because of Tarek Skubal. I'm no offense, not because of you, dude. Like it's because of this guy, like mainly because of Tarek Skubal. So like, yeah, I understand you have an obligation to this organization and you're thinking about the future. I understand that, but like the future's right in front of you. Go get this guy. I don't know if I mean, I'm sure he wants to. He has to get an okay from the ownership to go dish out $400 million, but I don't know. That's the big question for them is what they're gonna do. And I honestly don't envy his position. It's a very, very difficult position to be in. What would you do?
Trade him.
I think you have to trade him too, and I hate that I said that. It makes me want to punch myself.
I know, but you know what? You trade him because a trade of Tarek Skubal at this point doesn't mean that the Tigers are going to be years away from the World Series. It just isn't. They their problem was they couldn't hit when
Yeah.
they needed to against Seattle. That has been their problem both 2024 and 2025. There just aren't enough big time bats in that lineup. So we're going to run it back with the same look and just hope that Riley Green next year becomes a 40 homer guy and gets a few more clutch hits in October. And Spencer Torkelson kind of moves to the next level. And we get exactly what we got out of Glaber. And maybe Javi Baez could deliver a big hit here or there. And Zach McKinstry can replicate what he did in the first half instead of this. Like, is that how you want to live? I mean, you're not going to replace Tarek Skubal with whatever really good young pitcher you're going to get in a deal, but you could get 75% of him. But if you then add a couple of bats to that lineup, now we're talking. The Central could be Detroit's, and they could make a deeper run into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think like the way that this could go, number one, they trade Skubal, which you think is the best course of action. Trade him in the offseason right now. I don't think you can trade him midseason. I've said that many times. I
No.
think they will be in contention, and you just can't do it at that point. So the other alternative is, okay, we keep him for the season, try to sign him, offer him the qualifying offer. But to do that, to be successful, because you've done this now, like you said, a couple different years to varying levels of success, not where you wanted to end up. You do need offense. You'd have to go sign an Alex Bregman. You'd have to go sign a Bo Bichette. Like you have to do something offensively. So it's like, is that the plan? I don't think so. I think the plan clearly is, unfortunately, trade him in the offseason.
I think he does get dealt. I think it's going to be a huge, huge day in this sport. I love it how everybody's trying to figure out, wait, where's Tarek Skubal throwing the ball today? Folks, he lives in Arizona. That was the Diamondbacks ballpark in the background. Everybody's like, oh, what stadium is that? That's Arizona. If you've ever been anywhere near that stadium, you know exactly where that is. Take that little shortcut back to the airport.
Okay.
Take a quick getaway.
You just take a helicopter anywhere.
So that's all right. That's how I roll. I do want to know where Tigers fans are on the whole Skubal situation, because it's not easy waking up every day wondering if your best player, if or when your best player. I've lived that with Jose Ramirez, and it stinks. You go to bed one night thinking he's about to become a San Diego Padre. The next day he signs an extension. I don't think that happens with Tarek Skubal.
No.
Nope. Pete Alonso, he signed with a new team. We broke it all down, what it means. 5 years, 155 to move from Queens to the Charm City and the Baltimore Orioles. Brought to town to help the once upstart O's get back to their winning ways from a few seasons ago.
For me, it's such an addicting feeling, and playing that high leverage in the brightest lights. That's where, for me, that's the whole reason why you go through the spring training and the 162 game marathon for those short, tiny little moments at in the highest leverage of situations, because that's really what this is all for. This is all to get to October and really just win games. And how I'm going to help is share my experience and pretty much share whatever has helped me kind of step and rise into the occasion.
First of all, what'd you think seeing him in an Orioles uniform? I always love that first day. You either go, God, that is weird, or yeah, it's okay.
He looked great. He had a little difficulty putting the uniform
Yes, he did.
on. You saw he mismatched the buttons. That was
Yeah,
funny.
he went top and bottom. It was very weird.
Yeah, I mean, those are, once you have your buttons buttoned up, you never unbutton the jersey. Like it's just always buttoned from there on out. Like the only buttons that you remove on a jersey during a season is like maybe the top one, maybe the second one. The rest of them stay buttoned. They get washed buttoned. They don't ever come unbuttoned again. So I'll give him a little leeway there.
Were you always a T-shirt under the jersey guy?
Oh yeah, I never raw dogged it. No, heck no.
There are guys who do.
I know. I'm not about that life.
Doesn't that tear your nipples apart?
It could. It could.
I like my nipples too much to tear those bad boys apart.
Okay. What's the question here? Is nipples? What are we doing here?
Now we'll move on to what I actually had written, which is what's going to make you remember Pete Alonso as an Oriole instead of a Met? I know it's a hard question. We've only seen him once in an Orioles jersey. But
I was trying to go back to like guys who changed teams. I kind of forgot. Like I think Adrian Beltre is a good example. Was it Dodgers, Mariners, then Rangers?
With a 1 year stop in Boston.
In Boston too. Okay. So for him, it was postseason success, I think he had a lot of his career moments there as well, which Pete Alonso could surely have with the Orioles. Some of these monumental kind of numbers. How many homers does he have again?
What's he at, 270-ish?
Like we started
Something
to see
like
him hit
that?
300 homers there. We started to see him hit 400 homers. Like those are the memories that kind of get ingrained into your brain. Postseason success is for sure it. I mean, I think of his Mets career, I remember the homer off Devin Williams. Like that's a big one for a lot of Mets fans.
Mhm.
So you need to go have big postseason moments like that. Like Bryce Harper, to me, not going to remember him as a national. I'm going to remember him as a Philly.
Yeah,
He
that's
had more
crazy,
success there,
isn't
but
it?
he also had a 13-year contract
Right.
to dwarf his 6 years that he had in with the Nationals. So this one's kind of weird because he played 7 years for the Mets and a 5-year deal here. So the longevity won't do it. I just think it's big moments and postseason moments.
264 on the homer count for
Okay.
Pete Alonso for his career. Remember, he just became the all-time leader, passing Darryl Strawberry for that mark. Yeah, it's going to be probably nothing short of a World Series. Does it have to be just an appearance or a win? That's what I'm juggling.
So you think it's that much? I mean, I kind of agree. Like he did so much in a Mets uniform.
He did. He did. It feels like it's untenable, but I'm not so sure. I should say unattainable. Wrong word, Rose, moron. Um, yeah, I think it's probably making a World Series because I don't know if he gets to 500 homers. Does he have another 236 in him? Feels like a lot, but it's only been 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's definitely attainable for him.
Yeah.
I truly believe that.
Yeah. Okay.
Some guys
So
want to play as long as they can. Some guys don't. Pete Alonso seems to me like a guy that wants to play until the wheels fall off.
yes, he does. But it feels like he's probably going to be a guy who, at the end of his career, and this is no shame on him because it happens with a lot of guys, is that they'll bounce around, right? They bounce around. Now, here's something interesting just to put in your back pocket because we are talking a little bit about the Orioles. Eddie Murray, the Hall of Famer, started obviously with the Baltimore Orioles, won a ring with them in '83, and really jump-started his road to Cooperstown with the Orioles. But then he bounced around with a bunch of teams, right? He was with the Dodgers. He was with the Indians. I believe he was with the Mets. He eventually got traded back to the Orioles at the end of his career and hit his 500th home run.
Oh
I
boy.
think he finished his career at 504, if I'm not mistaken. But he went back to Baltimore where he could really enjoy it and kind of put a nice bow on that Cooperstown career.
What are you doing to Baltimore fans? You're already shipping Pete back?
I just want to say that
Oh,
maybe this is probably 10 years down the road.
okay.
You go enjoy your contract, and maybe he signs a second deal. Maybe he signs an extension with the Orioles and he plays 8 years, but maybe he's looking for one last run to make amends with the
Chris,
Mets.
there's a world where these Orioles like figure it out, they get some pitching, they get
Totally.
back to 100-win team and go on a run here. So like that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I
And
like what
Pete
they've
Alonso
done.
could be right in the thick of that. So to answer your question, like it's feasible that we end up recalling a lot more moments with the Orioles because they have more postseason success. And I hope
Is
for Baltimore fans that's the case.
like I still don't think we've answered the question adequately enough.
Okay.
I think we
I
have to
did.
drill down a little bit. No, you said postseason success. Does that mean that he has to hit like a game winning? Does he need a walk off to help them advance to the ALCS? Does he have to have a good postseason run in a singular season? They make the World Series where you go, oh yeah, that's Pete Alonso driven. Like he's the ALCS MVP. Like, is that good enough? Or is it a Devin Williams moment? Is that enough?
I think it because he's had the Devin Williams moment, I think it has to be like World Series MVP, something like that.
Okay.
3 homer games, stuff like that. It tends to be seared into your mind as a baseball fan. So some big monumental postseason stuff.
And by the way, it's interesting. Alonso, as good a player as he is, sometimes we ask that question, well, how many rings do you have to win during Bryce Harper's tenure in Philadelphia in order for it to make it worthwhile? Or certainly with Juan Soto when that happens. Here, I don't get that same feeling with Pete Alonso at all. I think he's a really, really excellent player, but I'm not going to look. If he only spends 5 years in Baltimore and they make the playoffs twice, but they don't even make it to the ALCS, I'm not going to say, well, that was a failed contract. That's not where he is in the baseball lineage.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's not. We don't hold him to a Bryce Harper standard.
Nowhere
No,
close to it.
No.
Nope. But he got some good money. Take
And
it.
Bryce got a new teammate.
Yes, he did. So let's get to it. There's a bunch of signings, extensions, trades since we last saw you. We're going to run through these rather quickly. And it started with Monday morning. The news is that the Phillies have a brand new outfielder. It's Adolis Garcia, 1 year, $10 million for the guy who helped the Rangers win the World Series just a couple of years ago. Do you like the move? Do you love it, or are you meh on it?
Going back and forth on it, is this like kind of another Nick Castellanos type out there? He's struggled the last couple seasons. Obviously, you can remember him as a big time slugger. Change of scenery could do him well. I like him as a player. I have him more as like not starting 150 games, like maybe platoon action-ish, something like that. That to me makes it a better sign than if you're plugging him out there and he's going to be your everyday right fielder. So we will see. I like the signing. I do.
Yeah, it is interesting. The Phillies every year talk about wanting to get guys that are more disciplined and give better postseason at bats. Not exactly sure if this is the dude we're talking about. Look at his strikeout numbers from 2021 on. 194, 183, 175, 177. He only struck out 135 times in 135 games last year. He was almost a 3-WAR player. He does have he's got an arm out there, so that certainly helps. And I just wonder how quickly we pull the trigger on a Nick Castellanos. I mean, they're going to have to eat a substantial amount of his contract to get him out of town, is my guess. We know that that's happening. I think it's a fine signing. It doesn't wow me either way, but for 1 year and $10 million, good. Sure.
We could be looking back at this video when he's got 40 homers in the bag, and we say, "Oh, what a freaking signing!"
Could be.
Yeah.
Yep. He definitely can mash at times, and he also can end up with a hole in his bat. Merrill Kelly, you mentioned his name earlier. No big shock. 2 years, $40 million to go back to Arizona. Of course, he was traded from the Diamondbacks to the Rangers as a rental. He was good. The Rangers were not. Do we feel like the Diamondbacks are like a move or two away from getting back to the team we thought they could be in 2025, or are we just kind of a little confused on where they are?
I'm not confused on where they're at. I just think they're probably upper middle tier of the National League right now. And I don't know if that's a great place to be.
Upper middle, so like
upper middle,
8, 9, like
yeah,
7, 8,
something
9?
like that. I was gonna say well, how many teams are in the National League?
15 still.
Yeah. Sorry. Shoot, are they the 8th best team in the National League right now? Yeah, they're somewhere right around there.
They're in the middle.
So
they are
not upper middle. That's middle.
Well, a little bit like the Scooble, they've got to get this Marte thing figured out first, right? And even earlier on Monday, we just saw the 5 teams that are on his no-trade list, and there's some heavy hitters out there. So they've got to get that part figured out. Merrill Kelly back to Arizona was the worst-kept secret. They knew the minute he was being traded. He basically said it that day, hey, they know what I think about out here. He had a house. He's got a young family. He was going back to Arizona. What do you're talking to yourself?
I'm just trying to do who's better than them. 1, 2, 3.
Give us names, not numbers.
Philly.
Yep.
Yes. I'm like contemplating the Mets and like how different are these two teams?
Yeah, I don't think it's substantially different.
83 and 79 for the Mets last year. Obviously a huge collapse. 80 and 82 for the Diamondbacks. Maybe they are like the 7th best team.
I think it depends on a couple of those bullpen arms coming back and how they fill out the rest of this rotation.
Philly, Milwaukee, Chicago, Dodgers, and then like the Padres, like if they start shipping people out, like are the Diamondbacks the 5th or 6th best team in the National League? I don't know. They're in the mix in that area.
Yeah. I, their rotation still, to me, has too many. Arizona's rotation has too
Yeah,
many question marks.
it's no offense to Merrill Kelly, who I think is a phenomenal pitcher. Very excited for him to get this, finally reach free agency and get this contract. But it seems like a bunch of kind of like threes right now.
I do think that I do think Ketel Marte will get traded, and I would like
That hurts their chances for upper middle class. It does.
not necessarily.
Well, yeah, what they bring back, sure.
I want to see what they bring back, and that could be a haul. That could be a really interesting.
Yeah, hard to replicate Starling Marte.
It
Not
is
Starling Marte, Jesus, Ketel Marte.
Ketel. You've got him twice on Starling.
I know, my goodness.
All right, let's continue on. Tyler Rogers going to the AL champs, Toronto, 3 for 37 for a guy who is in his mid-30s. Is that a little shocking?
Not when you like kind of break down the numbers, Chris, and understand exactly who this guy is. You know, he's going to take the ball, throw over 70 innings a year, which is what he does. You know, coming from a negative 61-degree arm angle, so his arm is actually moving in the right direction. You know, most pitchers are all other pitchers basically they're hurting their arms. His isn't going to get hurt because of how he throws. So he's durable. He's different. He's king of soft contact, like 95th, 96th percentile there. He's not going to strike anybody out, but he is going to limit homers and hard contact. And the Blue Jays know that was maybe some of their problem there, hard contact and homers during the postseason. So I think he fits in perfectly. And 3 years, 37 comes out to, you know, just over 12 a year. I think it's well worth it for, again, the amount of innings you're going to get out of the guy and then keeping the other team in the ballpark. His Baseball Savant page is awesome to look at.
Yes, it is.
So I'm all about this signing.
I don't know if I was working with you or with Jolly the day that we asked the question, what's the next logical move for the Toronto Blue Jays? And this was my exact answer.
Love that.
Getting Tyler Rogers. I just love him. He is a guy that you can depend on. He's thrown at least 68 games each of the last 5 years. And with that defense behind him, great. Let's go to work, boys. He doesn't walk anyone. That's huge for me. That is a check mark plus for a reliever. Let's not give free base runners. So I'm good with it. And I know people will say, well, past success doesn't mean anything for the future. I get it. I understand. And people will say, well, why don't... Well, there are critics. There are critics who say it.
I mean, sure it does.
But it obviously, it can get dangerous when you're talking about $12 million a year for a setup man who is in his mid-30s and has logged a lot of innings.
Chris, but we talked about this. We got to get off of like, it's too much money. For who and why, it's all relative.
It's right. It's only too much money if it stops business from going.
Exactly.
And obviously Dylan Cease's... Now, I got some heat for calling him overpaid. I will still go to bat with that. But there's nothing wrong with being overpaid if you can afford it and you're going to go pay $37 million over 3 years to a setup man. I don't have a problem with Dylan Cease getting overpaid. I think people misconstrued what I said about that. But
is Bo back in Toronto?
I don't think so.
It's weird a deal hasn't come through yet.
I'll tell you what's the weirdest thing, and we haven't talked about it yet the entire offseason, is Kyle Tucker.
It's just a big paycheck to write.
I know it is, but we might have to get to him at the end of the week if if there hasn't been any movement. But we'll see. I do want to get to this on the American League Central. Royals, Maikel Garcia, well-earned 5-year extension. Could be worth up to $85 million if everything goes as planned. They also signed Lane Thomas to a 1-year deal. They're looking for a bounce back. He spent the last year and a half in Cleveland. And they picked up Isaac Collins and reliever Nick Mears in a trade with the Brewers. Serpa, the lefty reliever, ends up going to Milwaukee in kind of an eyebrow-raising move. Which of those 3 moves that the Royals were focused on was the biggest headline?
I like Isaac Collins. I think I just saw him a lot. Obviously, he had some success there for the Brewers, but he's also from Minnesota, and he had a big series when I was there calling it. So he's just been on my radar for a while. And they're looking for outfield help. This guy's like super athlete, like stud. Could it be the guy that they've been waiting for? I don't know. He looked really, really good last year. So I like that one. And then the Zerpa, how do you say his name?
Serpa.
Zerpa. I'm always, hey, when Milwaukee trades for a pitcher, I'm always like, okay, they figured something out. They got something going on here. So
His numbers are not startling. Like, you would never think he would be in a 1-for-2 deal.
So yeah, I mean that raises my eyebrows a little bit, like you said. But Isaac Collins has been on my radar, and I think that's I want to see him get like a full season, full run there. I think that'd be good for him.
Yeah, this is interesting. Like I've highlighted the problems with the Royals outfield. And so they are trying everything. We keep hearing they're in on Jarren Duran, and I will believe that once a trade is consummated, that those two teams could
You keep saying
be an
consummated, man. Like you're just
sorry. It sounds like
you know where my
sounds like
mind
a
goes,
marriage,
and I need
like
that.
does it sound like a sexual thing? Is that what it is? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. How about if the trade trigger is pulled?
Oh, don't say that either. Golly, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's
Mondays
a me
are
thing.
tough for me. Mondays are tough for me. I get, I'm a little all over the place.
Isaac Collins, man, like in a short amount of time, like 16 swipes last year, 780 OPS.
I know. To me, like the Lane Thomas, that's a lottery ticket. I think if they find it.
The age is the thing, he's 28, so like I don't know.
Oh. You're just entering your prime.
No, I don't think that. Okay. Let me rephrase that. I don't think
Your
it's
Honor.
a problem for like next year or any years like that. But I mean, that's the one thing you're like, okay, like late bloomer. Is that what you'd
Late
say for
bloomer.
him?
We just talked about a bunch of late bloomer.
Yeah,
and
look,
Bobby
I'm
Flores
in. I just said I like watching Isaac Collins play. I think he's got great tools all around.
Last thing, speaking of bounce backs, Dustin May gets a 1-year deal with the Cardinals. Do you think he stays in St. Louis the entire season, or he's one of those 1-year deals that gets flipped midway through the year?
Depends how he's pitching. If he figures it out and like returns to form, he had a bad year last year.
Yeah, he did.
If he has some semblance of success and kind of gets back, I think they flip him. I think they do.
He looked unhittable earlier in his career. He threw so hard, and the amount of movement he would get on his pitches. Well, since then, he's had arm surgery twice, and he almost died eating a salad. Like, this has been a terrible, horrific. I'm not trying to be funny. But
I know you're not. I know it's a funny headline, but it's not a funny situation.
No, it's not. And so I'm just happy this guy is still with us, that he's still in the major leagues. I hope he gets right there in St. Louis, and I would love to see him have a great first few months and then sign a multi-year extension and be part of this, whatever process they're going through with Chaim Bloom now taking things over. Like, that would be perfect.
Okay.
I'm just rooting for the guy because I think it's been a health shit show for him to no fault of his own. And I root for guys to get back. There you go.
I like that.
Josh Bell, also 1 year, $7 million to your Minnesota Twins. I actually think that's a good signing. I love Josh Bell, like, as a person. Such a good human.
Good
Great
for
guy.
the clubhouse. Needed the first baseman. Needed some pop. Love it.
Barrel rate was very good last year.
Let me tell you something about these Twins.
Oh, stop.
I know it was a shit show.
They're playing the music. We got to go.
Traded away all of our relievers. We still need some relievers. The bullpen, not so great right now, but the lineup can be fine. The lineup can be good, people.
Okay. That'll do it for Twins today. I'm kidding. We'll be back later in the week. We don't know exactly when, so just to have your alerts on standby. And thank you for subscribing. And thank you for hitting the thumbs up. We always appreciate that. It helps the algorithm. That is good. It allows us to do what we love to do here in the off season. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, that is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you later this week here on Baseball Today.